MPs are back on Parliament Hill today for the first time since June as the House of Commons begins its fall sitting. Prime Minister Mark Carney will square off against Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre in question period for the first time. Poilievre returning to the House of Commons after winning a seat in an Alberta by-election last month. That came after he lost his longtime Ottawa area riding in last April's election. The biggest item on the fall agenda is Carney's first budget. He signaled the deficit will be bigger than last year's because, in part, the U.S. tariffs. This morning, Government House Leader Stephen McKinnon called on all parties to work together this fall.
I am under no illusions about what we face with the Conservatives under the leadership of Pierre Poilievre. In the last Parliament, Mr. Poilievre's approach was far from responsible. In fact, he shut down Parliament for weeks on end last fall, as I'm sure you all remember. He thought, and hopefully no longer thinks, a bad day for the government was a good day for the opposition. But this is not how this country runs. We need more good days for Parliament.
With me now is Mitch Heimpl. He's a Conservative strategist. Mitch, good morning. Glad you could be with us today.
Good morning.
Are you expecting to hear or see a shift in Pierre Poilievre's tone?
I don't think that's a rational expectation. I think there's a lot the Conservatives want to talk about this fall, from the increase in violent crime to the temporary foreign worker program, where they want to hold the government to account, and those are issues the government doesn't want to talk about. So I would expect the tone to not be that different from what we typically heard.
Well, we heard from McKinnon earlier saying that that tone was rejected by Canadian voters in the last election, and he used the example of other Conservative premiers who have shown a more collaborative approach to working together. Do you not think that Pierre Poilievre would take notice of that?
Pierre Poilievre has a different job. An opposition leader's job is to hold the government to account. When you're a premier, you have to deliver results for the people who put you in office. So he's trying to perform an entirely different task from what Doug Ford or Scott Moe or Danielle Smith are trying to do.
How will the Conservatives make sure that their issues, your issues, are at the forefront of the agenda?
So one of the things that has happened over the last number of years is that our MPs have turned the House of Commons into something of a content studio for online social media videos. The result of that has been that question period does take a greater focus than it might have a couple of years ago, but mostly from an accusatory standpoint. And the benefit to having Pierre back in the House, if you're a Conservative, is he is one of the best in the country, if not the best in the country, at performing on that stage. It'll be interesting to see him and Mark Carney finally go toe-to-toe after months of them both leading their parties but never having faced off in the House of Commons.
On what issues, or where do you see common ground between the Conservatives and the Liberals? Where do you think Poilievre might support the Liberals and be willing to
I do think that it's in the interest of both parties to see major projects get built. I think we probably need a more ambitious project list than the government released last week. A lot of those projects were pretty close to the finish line even before government assistance, so we'll need something that is a little more ambitious from the government. But the other thing we're going to see is, as the trade relationship evolves with the United States, is in the interest of both countries and both parties and this country to get that trade relationship settled.
Mitch, how secure is Pierre Poilievre's leadership right now? You talk about how important it is, that performance in the House of Commons. Is he also mindful of the fact that he has to keep fellow Conservatives happy with his performance, with his leadership?
I do think that Pierre being back in the House will create the necessary algorithm fuel for the Conservative base. I do think that the Conservatives have picked a couple of issues with crime, their push for improved self-defense laws in this country, as well as their focus on the temporary foreign worker program and the problems that's creating for youth unemployment in particular, will resonate with Conservative members. I don't think Pierre has to overplay to the base. I think he's pretty secure in being leader of the party for the foreseeable future.
Mitch Heimpl is a Conservative strategist. Mitch, thanks so much for your time today.